Aha, hello, and greetings to Northworthy Sagas and Story, a channel dedicated to telling the Viking sagas, folk tales, and also talking about history. And today we're going to be talking about a subject which has been asked to do by a very good friend of ours from a guild of green men and woodrows. And this is talking about your putties or your leg bindings. And this title is entitled Leg Bindings in the Age of the Vikings. And this is for Thorbert. So hello Thorbert, Wasdale, and good health to you and all your family members of your heathen group. So,
and any group anywhere else.
And at the end of this video I'll put them on for you.
Ooh. Hello there, I'm Egil Thorson, warrior, trader, runecaster, and of course a little bit of a historian as well as a storyteller. At the beginning, let me just put one point. You talk about putties. For the Dark Ages, they're not putties.
No.
Putty is
That's
an
a term
Indian.
you use.
It's an Indian.
Yeah.
But okay.
Is that a re-enactorism then?
Yeah.
I just call them leg bindings myself.
They were called putties in first.
Yeah.
Now then, what use are these? Well, they serve a number of purposes. And if you've got a moment, I'll tell you. First of all, it gets cold at certain times of the year and you want to keep warm.
It does.
As you can see here, Bragi is wearing roost trousers. They're extra wide because it traps the air.
Yes.
Now, you notice from there downwards, it's quite tight. So, if he puts a binding on, like a bandage, it keeps the hot air in. Also, if he should sprain his ankle, he can bind it up using that putty to put on a splint, which supports himself.
What did the Vikings call them?
I have no idea.
There you go. If you know that, then please leave it in a comment.
Fox binding or something like that. But imagine he'd broken his arm. You could make a sling from it.
You could do.
Yeah.
Never thought about that.
Now, my trousers, Bragi's trousers. There's miles, literally miles of thread in it. These are an expensive piece of equipment. Most Vikings didn't wear trousers, so they couldn't afford them. So, it's very muddy. This is dry today, but if you imagine a football pitch where people have
Soccer in America.
Yeah, or soccer, or even American football.
Indeed.
When
yeah.
it's been the rain, it's like a quagmire. And they put cattle across and things like that. So you get your mud spattered on the bottom of your trousers. If you leave it, holes for it. Now, if you look at mine, you'll see there's a pink bit. And
There's a few pink bits.
Yeah, those are holes that I repaired. So when I do live performances, people can see. And that would be your trousers. That's an expensive thing to happen. So you get an old cloak, an old skirter, cut it into strips, wrap it round.
Sew it together.
Yeah. Probably they wouldn't have been as fancy as that, who knows?
No.
But you brought up another question which is interesting. Did they use leather?
Yes, on the inside. But you could have them reversible for winter. Something I often think about.
Well, the trouble is with leather, when it's wet, it stretches. And when it's dry, it contracts and sometimes can be brittle.
Well, if you did make a set of them, you'd have to definitely manage them and take care of them.
I think it's like your shoes, you put pig fat on them or whatever fat.
But you could see, the idea is, you have your putty, so you've got your nice side on the outside, but on the inside you're sewing some leather, nice thin leather, and then in winter time you could reverse them and have the leather on the outside. Now, of course we don't really find these in archaeology digs, do we? So we don't really know that. And that's just something I thought about.
It's the trouble is, we also think in terms of standardisation. You know, like shirts, t-shirts, things like that. Everybody was different. You had what you could afford, and you flaunted your wealth. To my knowledge, we've never found any leg bindings.
No, not yet.
I'm not saying that we won't. You never know. But as you can see now, Bragi's rolling up these leg bindings, and these are putties. To what end he will explain to you later on. Now, I've been doing reenactments since 1990, so I'm an old hand at it. And I've learned today, I've been putting my putties on wrong. So, yeah, that's
teaching the older generation how to do it.
But that's the point, you're never too old to learn.
And there you see, there's your rolled up set.
Yeah.
That is how you store them. Now, I rolled them on basically backwards. So when I put them on, they're straight straight ready for me to
Just
put on.
like putting a bandage on.
I'll do that in a second. If you hold that for me, Eggle, I'm going to demonstrate again winding this one up. And you'll see on these I have some cords. Now these could be leather. In this case this is just some wool that has been made into some rope. Battered wool. Now if I did it on the inside, when I put them on it would be wrong. So you always got to make sure that your string is on the outside. And then once you're looking down like this, you can start rolling up.
And it will serve me properly
And
to
this
do
will,
it right.
this will really save you a lot of time
And
a lot of swearing and hassle.
Yeah, because funnily enough, people don't realise we carry a lot of stuff,
We do carry a lot of weight.
and swords are a nuisance in the modern era because you turn around and you whacked a kitchen unit.
Now here look, you can see, to show Eggle,
Whoa.
how it's wearing.
Yeah.
And this is what happens is when you get overstretched.
Ah.
So when you start getting overstretched, the wool starts to give way. So this little scene here, we're going to have to patch that with a bit of wool.
To be honest, everything's got a shelf life, even if you.
Well, yeah.
You know, I mean, you just got to accept that.
But these are basically the modern equivalent of gaiters.
Yeah. Well, like I said, my old regiment, Worcestershire Sherwood Foresters, when I was in, we used to wear what they called puttees, but instead of having it stretched out like this, like they did in the
Not
Great
called
Wall.
Wittingas.
Yeah.
I thought that was a Viking or Saxon term for them. I'll probably forgetting.
Yeah. But you had one thickness around and you had to make the tapes into a nice box. But of course, if you didn't fasten the tapes right, like I didn't, now I'm marching my squad in basic training, and somebody stood on it, and you look a bit of a Charlie when you do.
Now, one of the problems with wearing leg bindings is often when you're in battle, they will come undone. So that's something you've got to make sure that when you do put them on, you put them on correctly. Now, in a modern reenactment world, we'll often start to put your leg bindings on around about the ankle. And I hope you should see this. I'm going to put them on for you. And this is demonstrating for Thurbert, because he asked on the channel if we could throw in this. So as you see what I'm doing, I'm slowly wrapping them around my leg, lifting my leg up for you.
So does Thurbert do reenactment?
Yes, he runs the Anglo-Saxon route. We're going to do some collabs with him in the future, with live streams. So I try to make them neat, and not too neat.
Well, it's not, you don't have to be exactly precise, but...
I'm just covering the gaps. I don't want to see any gaps. I don't want to see my material underneath either. And you just get to the last bit where you've got to plonk it round. Now you've got these two cords. One goes one way round, and the other stays in your hand.
On that we are in accord.
In accordance. I mean, I try to fasten them here if I can. And I do a bow. And I make sure I put them tight. Now for this one I'm going to demonstrate how we speculate the Vikings or Saxon would have done it from underneath the foot. So I'll have to take my shoe off.
You know, in the British Army, when they had puttings, the infantry did it from to the top.
Yes.
The artillery did it from the bottom, crossing over. I don't know, I may have got it the wrong way around, but...
So why don't we do it from the top to the bottom?
I don't
I
know.
often think that. So the Vikings, what they may have done, they may have started around the foot.
Yeah.
Now the problem with a lot of modern leg bindings is that sometimes they're not long enough.
I see the reasoning for that, because there weren't heeled shoes and the arches needed support. What you've done there is to support the arch.
Now if you've got a very long pair and you don't have any socks, and fundamentally these could be like a pair of socks for you as well.
They may have done what the Russians do. They have a foot cloth.
I've got a little gap there. I'll try to close that.
You have a foot cloth. Put your foot on a square and you fold both sides up in the front. And that's what the Russians use.
But there you go, and that's the method of doing it from underneath your foot.
I'm talking to myself.
No, I'm listening.
But foot cloths are still used in the Russian army today.
Oh, they?
It's probably more efficient. I don't know.
And there you go.
They do it for a reason. Yeah, but I mean, now your arches are supported, aren't they?
Well, they're more supported than before, and I don't often use that method because I don't want to be walking on my puttees and stretching them out further, because that runs the risk of them tearing.
But think of it this way: would you rather have to keep replacing the puttees or walk like Donald Duck?
Well, I prefer to replace my puttees.
Exactly.
It's not the Duck of Evil, is it?
I hexed the whole village in Taunton. But
Just got to fasten my toggle up, and then that's my shoe back on.
yeah. So anyway, there we've covered leg bindings, and I hope that you.
One thing I look forward to finish about leg bindings, would they have embroidered them, do you think? Would they have gone to the length of, embroidering a pair?
That's who you are.
if you're very rich and you can afford to have them embroidered, then perhaps you
No
might.
doubt the king had them and all sorts of things. We don't know. But as I was saying, I hope that you've got some information there for reenactors. If you look at his neat bindings and look at mine, well, you know, such is life. But anyway, till we meet again.
Yes, and if you have any more ideas for videos we can make for you on this channel, then please leave it in a comment. We always love your comments and we always try to read every one of them. In fact, we do read every one of them.
Yeah.
And I always try to reply as soon as I can. So, from me, Bragi.
And for me, Egil, have a good night.
Was hail.
Last sale.
Good
Yeah,
hail.
do you want a drink?
No.